Good evening. Just wanted to jump on real quick. I think I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter than normal. But one important point to mention in the retirement process, no matter where you are, if you're pre-retirement, very early on in your career, or even right there in the last 1 year or 2 years or whatever, something to really keep in mind as you're progressing through your career and getting to retirement. Medical records. So medical records are a funny thing. I've been around long enough to see the records place out in St. Louis go up in flames, and they lost a lot of records. Luckily, not just medical records, but regular records as well, right? Any documentation that you have in the military, whether it's 214s, which is the thing that you get at the end of a long period of duty, or if you come off of active duty, your PT cards and all that stuff, right? One thing to really keep in mind, and I know a lot of people do this, but maybe not everybody takes it so seriously, is the I Love Me book, right? That's usually for your awards and your PCS orders and all that stuff. But another kind of I Love Me book that you might want to seriously take into consideration is your medical I Love Me book, right? So that has all your dental records, your medical records, your x-rays, your MRIs, like any of that stuff that you have. Not the originals, of course, but if you can get copies of that. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can either go to the hospital or wherever who has your records and create a scanned copy or a physical copy of it, and then scan it later somewhere else and keep it safe. You can also go to a hospital on usually any of the active duty bases, and you can ask them to give you a copy of a CD with all of your records on it. And actually, you can do it for yourself and for your dependents as well. And they'll basically burn a CD with all of your records that they have on there. The process usually takes a couple weeks. You request it, and then you come back and pick it up a couple weeks later. And then what I would say is go ahead and make a digital copy of that somewhere. Keep it in a folder, keep it on a hard drive, on a USB stick somewhere safe. Make multiple copies of it because you never know what can happen. And then when you get to your 180-day window, you've got roughly 90 days. Once you cross the 180-day threshold, you got about 90 days to actually get in touch with a VA representative, and you can actually send them all your records through MilSafe right now, but MilSafe is going to sunset sometime in June, July. It's a couple months. It's going to actually shut down the DoD MilSafe, or at least the DISA MilSafe. But ideally, you want to go onto a base or go to the VA and find a VA representative who can represent you, who can take your information, help you fill out the documentation so you don't have to do it. If you do it in that window, that small little window of 90 days, then they can process it and get it into the system, and it actually speeds up the process, or at least that's what I've been told. So you'll essentially reach out to them. They'll give you a place to send the link for the documentation. Send all the documentation into them, along with birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce decrees, whatever you have for your family as well. You send all that in, and then they process it. They type up the paperwork, and that puts you in the queue to be ready to go. So when you get to the point for your VA claim or whatever, it's already moving along, right? There's a very small window of time from 180 days out till 90 days out, right? So a 90-day window. And that's just something to keep in mind, in the back of your mind at least. It's an important thing. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I didn't know until I actually went to the VA office and knocked on the door and nobody was there. And I called and nobody answered. And then I sent an email, and eventually a week or two later, I got an email back with this big long email with all the stuff that I'm supposed to do. So keep that in mind. It's very, very, very important. Even if you're not claiming disabilities, even if there's nothing wrong with you, having that paperwork in progress and having that paperwork there, if something does happen, and they can go back and retrospectively give you some kind of VA points, whether it's 10% or 30% or whatever it happens to be, you'll have that already in place, right? Because if you do it after you get out, it could be a really long, drawn-out process, a really long, drawn-out process. I know people have been working on it for years, and it takes a while. And again, it's just something to cover you for the future. So with all that, I want you to enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will hopefully talk to you again tomorrow. And if the information that I'm putting out is helping you out, I'm glad to add value to your life and to your journey. And it's helping me by keeping me to focus on things that I need to think about and keeping track of it. So enjoy your day, and don't forget to subscribe. And you can share this out to whoever, and hopefully they'll come and check it out, and it'll give them some value as well. I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.